The city had a particular stillness when it rained, not the chaotic, honking bustle of rush hour, or the hurried footsteps of 1,000 lives on their way somewhere. On this particular Tuesday evening, the streets of Brookline slowed under a soft, steady drizzle. Lights reflected in shimmering puddles, headlights drew golden streaks over soaked asphalt, and people moved more gently, more thoughtfully, under their umbrellas. Somewhere in that gentle downpour, beneath the weak neon sign of a tired diner called Maggie's, a man sat with his 2 children at a booth by the foggy window, struggling to hold together the last fragile threads of his dignity. Daniel Cole was not a man who gave up easily. He had known hardship for most of his life, born to a mechanic father and a mother who worked 3-part-time jobs to keep the house standing. His upbringing had taught him to work with his hands, to respect every dollar, and to never let his children see the storm, even when it was inside him. But that evening, as he sat across from his son Oliver and daughter Lily, with only one plate of spaghetti to split between them, Daniel's resilience had begun to crack. His face was tired, a canvas of sleepless nights and silent panic. His rough hands, calloused from years of warehouse shifts and janitorial jobs, shook slightly as he sipped lukewarm water from a chipped glass he hadn't eaten all day. Not since the granola bar he split with Lily at 9 a.m. There wasn't enough money for a meal for 3. He could barely afford one. The spaghetti, the cheapest item on the menu at $4.25, came with a side of garlic bread, enough to be shared. Barely. Oliver, just 8 years old, understood more than he let on. He always had. He'd watch Daniel's eyes dart toward the register every time they walked into a store. He noticed how his dad pretended to be not hungry every night at dinner, and still, he never asked for more than he was given. He now sat straight, politely offering half of the garlic bread to his younger sister before twirling a small forkful of pasta onto her plate. "Here, Lily. You can have a little extra. I'm full." "You only had 3 bites, Lily said, her voice quiet, the ends of her pigtails brushing the table as she leaned forward. Oliver shrugged. "That's all I wanted." Daniel swallowed hard and looked away, pretending to be interested in something outside the foggy diner window. The pain of watching his kids try to protect him was unbearable. He should have been the provider, the protector. Not the desperate man counting coins, making excuses, crying in silence while pretending everything was fine. After Anna died, things fell apart fast. She was the sun in their lives, the one who had kept their family warm even when life was cold. Her cancer had been aggressive, cruel, and unforgiving, and the medical bills that followed left them with nothing but grief and debt. Daniel had sold the house, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with a mattress on the floor and shared blankets for warmth. He worked at a cleaning service from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., slept for 4 hours, and woke in time to take Lily to pre-K and Oliver to school. It was exhausting. But worse, it still wasn't enough. This night was supposed to be special. He told the kids he'd take them out. A surprise, he had said. But deep down, Daniel only hoped he could buy them something. Anything that felt like a treat, a memory, a moment of joy. Instead, they sat there quietly rationing food, trying to disguise hunger with smiles. "I like the noodles," Lily chirped, ever cheerful. "Even if they don't have meatballs." "Meatballs are overrated," Oliver added, his voice exaggerated and theatrical, making her giggle. Daniel chuckled softly, hiding the quiver in his throat. He reached for his wallet, faded, nearly empty, and pulled out a $10 bill and a few coins. That would cover the meal and the tip. He had exactly $1.23 left in his bank account after rent and utility payments cleared. Payday wasn't for another 3 days. He let out a quiet sigh and wiped at his eye when the kids weren't looking. A heavy ache sat in his chest like a stone. His kids didn't complain, didn't cry, didn't beg for toys or treats like most children. They were understanding in a way no child should have to be. That made it even worse. Then, as if the universe decided he'd been brave enough for long enough, a voice came from just over his shoulder. "Excuse me," it said, warm and calm. "I hope I'm not intruding, but may I sit?" Daniel turned and saw a woman in her mid-40s, dressed in a dark green coat, her hair pulled back loosely, rain still fresh on her sleeves. She wore a modest leather satchel, and her face carried a softness that was both familiar and foreign. She looked like someone who had once known pain but refused to be hardened by it. "I'm sorry," Daniel asked, startled. The woman smiled gently. "I couldn't help but overhear. I know this is unusual, but would it be all right if I bought you all dinner tonight?" Daniel froze. "I don't mean to offend," she added quickly, "and I'm not trying to pity you. But I saw the way your children looked at you, and I know that kind of love. It deserves to be seen." He blinked, stunned. "We're fine. Really, I appreciate the offer, but—" "You're more than fine," she said, pulling out the chair and taking a seat anyway. "You're doing something incredible, and sometimes the strongest people still need a little help." Daniel felt his face flush, pride and shame fighting inside him. He glanced at the kids, who stared in awe at the stranger. Lily tilted her head curiously. "Are you magic?" she asked. The woman laughed. "Not exactly, but magic does come in strange forms." She called the waitress over. "3 full meals, please. Let them pick whatever they want. And dessert." The waitress blinked, then nodded and hurried off. Daniel cleared his throat. "I'm Daniel. These are my kids, Oliver and Lily." The woman extended her hand. "Elena." He shook it. Her grip was confident but kind. "I was where you are," Elena said after a pause. "I had a son. I lost everything. Slept in shelters. Went hungry so he wouldn't. Then one night a stranger helped us. Bought us a warm meal. Sat with us. Talked to us like we mattered. That night changed everything. And now, I try to do the same for others. One family at a time." Daniel felt tears prick his eyes again. This time, he didn't look away. "I run a nonprofit now. We offer job assistance, housing referrals, free training for parents trying to start over. I know what desperation looks like. But I also know what potential looks like. And I see it in you, Daniel." He could barely breathe. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything now. Just eat. Let them smile. Let them have this night." When the food came, plates of chicken, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, warm bread, and a chocolate sundae. The children lit up like it was Christmas morning. They laughed. They fed each other bites. Daniel took a bite himself, then another, and for the first time in weeks, the knot in his stomach began to ease. Elena slid a business card across the table. "We have a position open. Night supervisor at our shelter. You'd be perfect. You already know how to take care of people. Let me help you take care of your own." He stared at the card, tears slipping freely now. "You have no idea what this means." "I do," she said, smiling. "That's why I'm here." For the rest of the evening they talked. About Anna. About the kids. About life and second chances. The storm outside passed, but inside, something new began. A shift, a spark. When they left, Elena walked them to their car. Daniel turned before opening the door. "You changed my life tonight." Elena shook her head gently. "No. You changed it the moment you chose to keep going. I just reminded you what was already inside you." As the car pulled away and the taillights faded into the distance, Elena stood on the sidewalk, hands in her coat pockets, a satisfied smile on her face. In the rearview mirror, Daniel looked at his children, laughing, full, safe, and felt something he hadn't felt in years, hope. And that voice, soft, firm, and kind, still echoed in his mind. Sometimes, the strongest people still need someone to see them. And finally, someone had.